A warm welcome to our presentation. We are going to explain you about the GSM. GSM is nothing but the global system for mobile communications. This mobile communications is a standard developed by the European Telecommunications and Institute to describe the protocols for the second generation digital cellular networks used by mobile devices such as mobile phones and tablets. This GSM is mostly used for the digital cellular communications. Moreover, in this modern era, the mobile telecommunication telephony has become a rapid increase, and that was GSM was also a part-time increase of it, and it was formerly used in 1982. This was as I have mentioned before, it was an European post and a telecommunications, and they formed a group, specially mobile, called as a JSM. Later on, group specially mobile, and later on it was named as GSM. This was, and the figure they have given us first generation, second generation, and third generation, fourth generation. This was the evolution of GSM.
Jwala,
And now
I
Ravina
couldn't,
will continue about it.
Jwala, I couldn't see your screen sharing. Screen is not shared. Okay,
Um,
okay. Okay, let me continue with the worldwide deployment. And these are the statistics for the GSM. That is how it has been connected with people. Like we have 930 networks in 222 countries and regions, and we have 3 billion subscribers worldwide, and more than 80% of worldwide in market share. And these are the percentage of people using GSM. And next slide, please. Okay, and this shows the difference between GSM and CDMA. And my friend said GSM is nothing but global system for mobile communication, and CDMA is slightly different from GSM, but has the same functionality. That is, let me explain in further videos. And it stands for code division multiple access. Whereas storage type for GSM is SIM, and for storage type for CDMA is internal memory. And GSM has 75% of global share, and CDMA has 25% of global share. And GSM is the most common term that we all use in our countries, right? And that is what is said. And GSM is used in all other countries except in US, but CDM is most widely used in US. Whereas data transfer is done in GPRS, while it is done in EVDO and CDMA. And network, while we come to network, every cell has a corresponding network server which serves the mobile phones in the cellular area. There is only one physical channel and a special code for every device in the coverage network while we come to CDMA. And GSM is the most accessible roaming network, and CDMA is less accessible. And while seeing frequency, we have multiple frequency bandwidth for GSM, and only single bandwidth is allowed in CDMA. And network service, it is SIM specific, whereas GSM is SIM specific, and CDMA is handset specific. And these are the difference between GSM and CDMA. And CDMA is widely used in US, so that we will not be frequently hearing the word CDMA. Whereas GSM, we have heard more about it in India, right? Okay. Next comes the GSM architecture.
um, GSM architecture, there are three main parts.
No,
That
the screen is not shared. Next slide.
is this visible now?
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. GSM architecture. There are three main parts in GSM architecture. That is MS, BSS, and NSS. And they mainly call it as OSS also. This mobile MS is nothing but the mobile station. It contains two entities: mobile equipment and SIM. And by base station subsystem, there are two entities, and NSS transfer, there are five entities. And further videos, we will go about the further descriptions. First comes, as I have said before, first is the mobile station. This MS has main two entities. First one is the mobile equipment, and second one is the SIM. SIM is nothing but the subscriber identity module. MS MS is a portable, handheld device, and we all know about the mobile equipment. That's what is mentioned here. This is also uniquely identified by the data transmission. Also, this monitors power and the digital and the quality of the signals of cells surrounding by the handover. And next is a SIM. SIM is nothing but the main reason for us for the users to send and receive the calls. That was the main purpose of the SIM, and it was protected by the password for not by the for the password or the pin, which does not allow the unauthorized access by any other users to access it. And there were many algorithms used behind the SIM, that is the key and KC and the A3, FI, and many algorithms were used. And these were the main features of the SIM. And the first architectural layer, that is the MS. Second is the DSP.
And second architecture of GSM is base station controller. And we have two main components in base station control, that is base transceiver station and base station controller. And in base transceiver station, it is used to encode, encrypt, multiplex, and feed the that is radio wave signal to the antenna. And it is mainly to communicate between the micro station, sorry, that is mobile station and the base station controller. It acts as an intermediate between these two, and it transmits the signals to coming from mobile station to the base station controller. And it consists of transceiver units, that is mainly for transmitting units from one station to another station. And next comes the base station controller, which is used to manage radio resources that have been acquired from BTS, like and it assigns frequency and time slots for all the microstation in its area. And its main purpose is to assign frequency, and it handles call setup, and it handovers for each microstation. And the main purpose of base station controller is to control and monitor the radio power. And it communicates between the micro mobile station and the BTS. And we could see a picture here, and the antenna receives the radio waves, and it sends the signal to the base receiver station, which have been acquired from the mobile station. And it the signal is further transferred to the base station controller. And next comes the third architecture of GSM, that is network switching subsystem. We have four main components here. First component is about home location register, that is HLR. It is nothing but a permanent database about mobile subscribers in the large service area. It will be storing all such informations of that area, like area and number of antennas there, number of units consumed every day, that's and all. And the database contains IMSI, MSI, ISDN, prepaid, postpaid, roaming restrictions, and supplementary services. And next comes the visitor location register, and this is also a database which updates wherever new MS enters in its area by HLR database. Like it updates the database every for a new micro station, and it controls those mobile roaming in its area and reduces the number of queries to HLR. And it contains the same as HLR, that is IMSI, TMSI, MSISDN, MSRN, location area, and authentication key. Next slide. And next comes the third main component of the NSS, that is authentication center. And it is nothing but a center which is used to protect against intruders in air interface. It is used to stop the attackers or intruders to come in the uh, radio power surface. And it maintains the authentication keys and algorithms and provides security triplets, and it generally associated with HLR. And next comes the equipment identity register. It is also a database that is used to track handsets using the IMEI, that is International Mobile Equipment Identity. And it is made up of three main subclasses, that is whitelist, backlist, and greylist. And it consists of only one EIR, PET, TLMN. And these are nothing but the terms which is used to refer those networks. And next comes the architecture.
Oh, 1 minute, Ravina. And next comes the GSM architecture. These were the main three parts of the architecture, main key points of the architecture, as we have explained the three architectures about that. And first we have saw about the SIM and the mobile equipment. That is the MS mobile service. We have described that. And next is the BSC. And next we have described about the NSS. These were explained here. And next comes the GSM operations from speech to radio wave will be continued by Ravina.
Yeah, here we could see that like this is nothing but a process of a person speaking from its from his or her own phone to the, and it is communicated to the other phone, right? And this was a process actually carried out backward. That is, our speech is firstly converted into speech coding, and then it is converted to channel coding, interleaving, burst formatting, and ciphering, and then it comes to modulation. And here, in the first part of the process, the speech is converted to the radio wave, and again the radio wave has been given to the reverse process, that is demodulation, deciphering, burst formatting, de-interleaving, channel decoding, and this radio wave has been again converted to the speech, and this is how the speech is converted to the radio wave, and radio wave is converted to speech, and the sender and the receive can hear what he or she is saying, right? And this is what the process of GSM operation.
Well, as Ravina has beautifully explained the GSM operations, next we have moved out to the GSM services. As we have seen before, the architecture, there also we have seen the main three parts, the same as well. We have going to see the GSM services. First comes the teleservices, and second is the data services, and third is the supplementary services. We will be seeing about the more details now. And teleservices. Teleservices, in the name even we have got the telecommunications services. This is a services that can be communicated over the data, over the ranges through mobile phones. This the major part is that the mobile phones we have been connected to the data transmitter or through the data communications. And the services that have been offered are emergency calling and mobile telephony, and we all be familiar with the emergency calling as well.
And next
That
comes the bearer services, and it includes we have seen many services that have been included for, like we having even when the phone is not logged in, we'll be able to call for 100, 108 and all, right? And these are the services that have been explained in tele services, and we have here comes the bearer services, and includes various data services for information transfer between GSM and other networks like PSTN, ISDN, etc. And it is mainly used to send SMS, like we send SMS like up to 160 characters, like whenever we are in emergency, or we have any other circumstances, we will be able to send SMS within 160 characters, and that should be in very restricted format, like alphanumeric data transmission to and from mobile terminals. And UMS, Unified Messaging Services, and it has been restricted to group 3 fax, was voice, mailbox, and electronic mail. And these are the facilities that have been made in bearer services.
and next one is the supplementary services, the last one to go, and this is called as the call related services. This call related services has been we all know about the call facilities. That's what we are gonna say here. Call waiting, that is the notification of the incoming call while it is on the onset, and call hold while another call is still need to be overtaken by this already incoming call. This comes a call hold. And call bearing, all the calls and the forwarding calls or incoming calls are called as a call bearing. And call forwarding, once a person calls to one another person and that person might be called forwarded to many other numbers is called as a call forwarding. And multi-call party, that is a conferencing, that's all we do together. It's used for multi calls. We have been linking together to discuss about a particular topic or something else. This is called as a supplementary services, that's of a GSM module. And next comes the characteristics of the GSM. This characteristics of GSM is nothing but a compatibility with ISDN. And as we have shown about the new services, these also support for new services. and the main point was that of the enhancing privacy. This supports the more security and privacy for the users, and this is also for the fully digital systems, support for a fully digital system. And the main fact, one more important point was that full international roaming capabilities. And as GSM is not only meant for calls or call services or call and hold systems or supplementary services, another one of the support is called as a short message services, that is nothing known as a messaging service. Not apart from call system, SMS services also it supports. Now, next also the voice quality. The voice quality is already been recognized by the phone call. These were the advantages and or advantages of GSM. As I have mentioned, the characteristics, their same was listed in the advantages. The better quality of the speech, that is while call over, it gives us many it gives us many advantages over the phone calls. That's what is being described in speech also, quality of the speech. And the data transmitted is supported, it was very good, and the international roaming and a large market has been used this GSM. These are the advantages of GSM.
And Jwala superbly explained about the advantages of GSM. And even though we have many advantages while GSM, we have some of the disadvantages like dropped and missed calls. Like whenever the user is calling with the other one, and we couldn't. Our call will be, if we are calling the same person, the call will not be registered in our phone, right? And that is the main disadvantage of GSM, and less efficiency and security issues. And we will be and even though we'll be able to block people, some calls will be coming again and again, right? And that was the security issue, and it is less efficient, and we will not be we'll be able to drop and miss calls, right? Okay, next slide. And next comes the application of GSM, and we have many applications of GSM like mobile telephony, GSMR, telemetry system, and value added services. And telemetry system is used in toll collection, remote control fault reporting of DG sets, and automatic meter reading and fleet management. Okay.
And last comes the conclusion here. And as we have deeply described about the JSM module, its architecture and its services, and many other features of it, and also its disadvantages of GSM. As we all know, in this modern era, the demand for the modern for mobile phone communications has been increasing rapidly, and this was GSM was also stood as a backbone for this success, and efficiently it has been it has bought a part of modern lifestyles all over the world. This GSM is a standard that ensures the interoperability without competition and innovation among the suppliers to the benefit for the public, both in terms of cost and service qualities. In terms of the users, they has been providing the service quality as well as the cost quality in the affordable place with which can satisfy all the users. This is what the whole talk about the GSM module we have explained about, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. This was a reference. Thank you.
Thank you.